Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today I wanted to go over really quickly a very, very important and ultimately interesting decision that the Federal Reserve has to make right now, or in these upcoming months. So, let me just give you some context on the issue. The Federal Reserve ultimately controls the money supply, therefore the asset prices of the stock market. They do this by either increasing or decreasing rates. Historically, when the stock market gets very high and overpriced, they will move interest rates up to get it back under control, and vice versa. When it goes down and gets weaker than they want it to be, they will reduce interest rates to make conditions easier for the stock market. Now, in March 2020, they cut interest rates from 2% to 0% because of the pandemic. So they wanted to stimulate the economy and create inflation because there was very little economic activity going on at that time. So they successfully did create inflation and stimulate the economy, but now we have too much inflation. As the CPI, it says now, it is at an all-time high. A normal CPI rate is about 2%, meaning there's 2% inflation on an average year. Right now, it just hit 7% on the year. So things are 7% more expensive than they used to be, which is understated because there's all these tricks they use to make the CPI underrepresent the actual rate of inflation, but we can get into that in the future. So the problem right now is the public and the politicians are both concerned about inflation because it's a destructive force. I'm sure everybody's noticed the price of gas, food, probably housing or rent has also gone up. The cost of living in general has skyrocketed. Now, there's a way to fix this by increasing interest rates from 0, but this crushes asset prices, and that includes home prices, 401ks, because the reason that home prices went up so much, as I've mentioned in past videos, is because there's been a tremendous amount of borrowing at 0% interest rates to buy a large amount of real estate properties. Now, in all honesty, most people say that our economy cannot handle an increase in interest rates right now without collapsing, or that our stock market, that is, because it's been built up to such a high level that most people are afraid to see what it will look like when it comes down, because it probably should have had a natural recession at some point between now and since the recession in 2008, but ever since then, the Federal Reserve has really sort of babied the stock market, for lack of a better term, because it was in a very delicate state. Now, I don't want to get sidetracked too much with that, but I just want to emphasize the point that our stock market has been very delicate since 2008, and the Federal Reserve has been very, very accommodative towards it. But Wall Street knows that, and they've taken advantage of that, and they've run the stock market up to the moon. So now the Federal Reserve is in a position where they either have to let inflation continue to get out of control by adding to the monetary supply with quantitative easing and having interest rates at 0, but versus increasing interest rates and contracting the money supply, but there's no telling how damaging that could be to the stock market. Now, the Federal Reserve tends to historically prefer to be reactive instead of proactive because they don't like to be the bad guy. They don't like to be blamed for things. They like to come to the rescue more than anything. So, that's what happened when the pandemic started. The stock market went down, I think, by about 20 or 30%, and the Federal Reserve came to the rescue and, printed all this money and cut rates, all that. Now, people have become more concerned about inflation than a stock market pullback. So, after months of insisting on being accommodative, the Federal Reserve has now done a 180 and has been talking about tightening for the past 2 months and is scheduled to raise interest rates in March. So, where does this leave us? Most people believe that it's actually, I wouldn't say most people, a lot of people, some people believe that the stock market can withstand that for a while, but a lot of others argue that we weren't even really able to raise rates in 2018 when the stock market was in much less of a bubble. So there's no way that we can do it now. And I plan on showing you a video later today about why it is so difficult for the economy to deal with interest rates right now. But there is one more issue, there is one more alternative to the inflationary route or the deflationary route. And just to make it simple, the inflationary route, prices keep going up, you keep losing purchasing power that way. The deflationary route, the stock market goes down and a lot of jobs are lost because ultimately the equity that a company has within it is its profitability and ability to hire people. So that is one of the reasons why the Federal Reserve has put this off for so long, because they've wanted to bring down the unemployment rate, which the numbers show they have. So that seems to be one of the reasons why they're switching around on this now. But the third option that people are speculating and has even been in the mainstream media a little bit lately is price controls. Now, I never thought I would see this in my life. It's only happened, I believe, once in the past 100 years. Nixon did it for a little bit during a similar situation to this, but I'll talk about that more in detail in another video. But yeah, price controls. So it's an unpleasant situation for them to raise rates, but it's also politically intolerable to let inflation continue to go at this rate. So a lot of smart people are concluding that they might go with the price controls option, but I don't know why they would think that this couldn't work, because all you have to do is look at history or simple economics to show that price controls do not work. If anything, they make the problem worse, because there's a saying that the best fix the best cure for high prices is high prices themselves, because when an item gets too high in price, a lot of people will stop buying that item, and also the producer will produce more of that item because they know it's selling for a lot of money. So, the free market sort of repairs itself that way. But when you do price controls, that makes it more affordable for people who want the items to buy, and it makes it impossible for the producer to be profitable. So I think anybody can see the lack of logic there if they were to go with the price controls option. But I would say keep an eye on that, because it's been brought up lightly in the news lately, and normally when that happens, it's a sign that they're trying to test how public opinion would take it. But let me know what you think. Let me know if that was clear or confusing or anything. I don't know. I know I ramble on about this stuff a lot, but I don't know. Like I said, trying to feel out what is interesting to the majority of people. So let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching. Talk to you later.